Right then, welcome back to another vid. So recently I've been playing a heck of a lot of Amiga and Atari ST games, so I thought I'd start covering some of these on my channel. Now the first one I'm going to do is Leander, and this one's for the Commodore Amiga. A really good game, a nostalgic game. And so yeah, here we go. Now what I'm going to do is what I always do at the beginning. I'm going to let the intro play out. It's probably going to last around about 2 minutes, that's the song in its entirety. And then once that is finished, I'll crack on with a bit of commentary and of course some gameplay. So there we are, nice bit of music, but that's pretty indicative of how Amiga music was back then. You know, pretty much every song was great, or that's how I kind of look back on it, you know, with rose-tinted glasses, or rose-tinted ears, I guess. But yeah, it's funny actually, because there's 3 bits of music to Leander. There's the initial piece, which you wouldn't have heard, and that's when the video started, when I was talking. And that song goes on for about 20 minutes. Really chilled out, really relaxed, and I would have included it on this vid, but obviously it would have made the video 10, 15 or 20 minutes, whatever it is, longer. That would have been a little bit too much maybe. And then there's the main intro song, which you would have heard, and then after that, as soon as that finishes, a third one starts, and again that's really good quality as well. So yeah, 3 separate pieces of music and the game hasn't even started yet, a sign of quality. But of course that's what you used to get back then, back in the day. You know, rose-tinted glasses are on now, well and truly. But particularly from publishers such as Psygnosis, who made this game, you know, they really did put more detail, more attention to detail in their games than a lot of developers and publishers do these days, or so it seems. Again, that probably is just rose-tinted glasses and nostalgia kicking in. But I used to really love the Psygnosis box art. It's fantastic. I've showed it off on several kind of pickup vids in the past and will do in the future. And I know there's actually some people on YouTube, I've seen it, you know, where their aim, their gaming aim, or one of their aims, is just to collect, amongst other things of course, but Psygnosis games, just because the box art is so striking and unique. And I'm not collecting them as such, or going out of my way to collect them all, but I do have a few, and there's a hell of a lot more that I do want to get. So over time, you know, on my channel I'll show them off, and yeah, the box art's absolutely fantastic. But anyway, so this game came out in 1991. Now I will just quickly say that the following year, obviously 1992, it came out on the Megadrive stroke Genesis, but it was released under a different title. And that title on the Megadrive stroke Genesis is the Legend of Galahad. Now, having a quick look on YouTube at a little bit of Megadrive stroke Genesis gameplay, it's exactly the same in terms of level layout. By the way, check this out for epic fail. Epic fail platforming. But yeah, it's the same level layout, but the colours are a little bit darker. They look a little bit more arcadey, a little bit more Megadrive-y, if you like. Stroke Genesis. I hate that name for Genesis. I've never been able to get on with it, ever. Again, just through nostalgia of calling the Megadrive and growing up with the Megadrive. But yeah, so it looks exactly the same. Doesn't sound as good as the Commodore Amiga version, of course. But basically, it is, for all intents and purposes, the same game. So if you've got a Megadrive, stroke Genesis, you may want to look into getting the Legend of Galahad. Because like I say, it's basically the same game, Leander. And yeah, so 1991 is when I first encountered it. Now, I spent about 10 minutes online yesterday on Google trying to figure out what magazine I bought back in the day, which came with, or that came with the Leander demo disc, and I couldn't quite nail it, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on that. I think it was ST Action. That's what my kind of mind's telling me, but the mind plays tricks all the time. But anyway, so I bought ST Action, or whatever magazine it would have been, back in 1991, and this magazine came with a demo disc, as many magazines did back then, and Leander was on that demo disc, and I'd never heard of it prior to buying this magazine, so I stuck it on, and I really liked it. It was fantastic, and ever since then, it's been one of my admittedly, many nostalgic favourites from that 16-bit Amiga stroke Atari ST era. And yeah, I've just been wanting to buy it back and to play it for absolutely ages. And now that I am playing it finally on the Amiga, because my only experiences prior to this would have been on the Atari ST, and I can tell you it's a brilliant game. I mean, obviously taste is subjective, but if you like platforming games, then I think you're gonna like this. The controls are pretty tight. I will say that the hit detection, the collision detection, is a little bit, at times, questionable. Or maybe not so much questionable, maybe it's just, maybe games are a little bit more difficult back then, so you had to time things a little bit better. Maybe in this day and age with 360, PS3 and upcoming PS4, Xbox One games, etc., maybe there's a bit more leeway, you're allowed to get away with things a little bit more. It's less forgiving. Whereas, like I say, in the old days, in the good old days, it was very, very difficult. The games are rock hard, and they just didn't hold your hand as much as they do today. But anyway, so here we are in the shop, served by a lovely, yet strange assistant there, and we can't actually buy anything. Now, that's my fault really, because in the previous level, the first level, I didn't pick up enough coins. Basically, coins, if you didn't already see from the gameplay footage, are picked up the standard way by killing the enemy, who occasionally leave coins, and by destroying the treasure chests. And again, they occasionally leave coins behind, or potions, or health, or extra lives, or whatever it is. Now, I could almost, but not quite, afford a short sword weapon in that shop, and if I'd have picked up the extra coins in the first level, I could have showed it off there. But so yeah, that's a nice little feature, I guess. It is a bit of an obligatory feature. A lot of games back in the day did feature shops where you could upgrade, but it is still nonetheless a nice little touch. Now, every level pretty much starts off exactly the same. You're given the message that you've got to collect something from a particular point in the map. It's usually by opening or hacking a treasure chest and revealing like a crown. I think it's a crown that we're going to find on this map in a few seconds or a few minutes or whenever it is. But yeah, so the basic premise is for every single level thus far that I've experienced, you collect something from, say, the right-hand side of the map or the eastern side of the map, and then you've got to take it over to somewhere in the middle or the west or whatever, in a cave or whatever it may be. It's basically find something, collect it, and drop it off where it's meant to go. You're like a courier. Look at it that way. That's one way of looking at it. But it is a very difficult game, as I touched upon before. And that collision detection, which you saw then, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that to me was very dodgy, to say the least. But what can you do? So here we are. I jump off the tip of the cliff. Like it said at the start of the level, that was my little clue. And I get the crown. The crown now I've got to take to the place in the middle of the map. Now you can see on the top right hand side of the screen, just underneath where it says lives, that's indicating that you've got the object which you're looking for. So once you're at that point, you're 50% of the way to completing the level. Then all you've got to do is, like I say, to drop it off, do your courier job, and then locate the teleport, which will be in that vicinity. Get through the teleport, which is shining in blue, which I think we've already seen, well, we definitely have already seen once, and we will be seeing again in a little bit. And that's it, level complete. Now I believe there's 3 worlds and 21 or 22 levels. I've kind of seen, conflicting reports, and each world apparently has got 7 levels, but I did hear somebody say there's an extra level at the end, or something like that. It could be wrong. So there's either 22 levels or 21. Either way, it's quite a big game, because you're only going to see 3, I think, in this particular gameplay vid. There's a couple of kind of caves as well, but I'm not counting those as worlds. So yeah, it's a very difficult game. Now, one of the things you may have seen, or as you can definitely see now, is the armour on the character Leander. The armour is white, well, it's now blue. Basically, he starts off as blue, and every time he takes a hit, his colour changes. So it goes from blue, and if you take a hit, then it goes to green. If you take another hit, it goes to purple. And then if you take another hit after that, then you've lost a life and you have to start again. Now, if you haven't taken a hit, and you're on your default blue setting, then you turn white, the white armour, that's if you pick up the extra health. Now, I don't know what happens if you have white health or white armour, and then you pick up extra health or potions, because I've not done that yet, so I don't know whether it goes to another colour. It's basically just giving you extra kind of damage limitations. So it's a nice, relatively unique little touch, because obviously for the majority of games like this, it's either one touch, one kill, or maybe more commonly, you've got the bar, the health bar, which kind of goes down and regenerates. It's obviously just the equivalent, but it's a nice little variation. So again, a nice little touch by Psygnosis, and it works really well. It makes it stand out from other games. Now, I'll also mention the enemies as well, because by all accounts there's 100 different, which sounds quite a lot, even in this day and age for a current gen game. There's apparently 100 different kinds of enemies. Now, be it these bats, which are bloody annoying, flapping about, or whether it's those kind of goblin archers, or whether it's the kind of statuesque kind of, is it Jason the Argonaut's kind of style stone soldiers, which are always cool. They used to freak me out as a kid, but they were kind of cool at the same time. Yeah, so 100 different enemies. Now that's pretty impressive. 1991, remember, and it stops I guess the action from being repetitive and boring and all the rest of it. But other than that, as you can see, with these typical little elements like this, like the boulders will drop and the chain, it's a typical platform kind of romp, if you like. Platform romp. I've heard that. I've heard people say that. I've never said it myself. Brilliant. But it really works, and it's a really, really good game. These bats, look at them. Pain in the ass. In fact, thinking about it, just to be matter of fact, nobody cares about this. I've just got to correct myself. I think a minute ago I said you've got to collect the crown, or whatever it is, then you've got to drop it off, and then you've got to locate the teleporter. That's not the case. You've got to find the crown, or whatever it is, and then you've got to drop it off at the teleporter, which is all shining in blue there, as you saw, which looks really nice, graphically. That was an epic fail there. Jumped on a dog and paid the price. Ridiculous move. So yeah, I've got to be honest, going back to the Amiga games, and the ST as well, it really is my thing, and I've not touched any current gen games, or anything other than, quite frankly, Amiga games this past 3 or 4 days. And when I first put this game on, this Leander game, I enjoyed it, going back a couple of days. It was fun, but it was just like, yeah, I like it, but it's just nostalgia. But after thoroughly playing it for the past, 48 hours, not continuously for 48 hours, that'd be insane, but you know what I mean, after just basically playing just this game for a couple of days, I've really got back into my Amiga stuff, and, of course, Atari ST. And I love it. I always have. I always will. It's my favourite era, my favourite 2 systems. I love the Megadrive, I love the SNES, but for me, the Amiga and the ST are just on another planet. I absolutely love them. Best systems ever. But I guess that's just a matter of taste, isn't it? It's all subjective. So, it's funny actually, because what I'm going to show towards the end of this clip, or to the end of this vid, is a strange little option. Now, I thought this was an option which was weird at the time, going back to 1991. And I remember reading the instruction manual, and I think they used the term cyanide pill. So you've essentially got the option to destroy yourself, and you're going to see it in a minute. Now, you can do this by crouching and holding down the fire button. And as you hold down the fire button, this blue sword at the bottom of the screen, or the blue bar, it progresses, it fills up. And once it fills up in its entirety, there's no going back, you can't get out of it. But you can kind of hold it down towards the end and let go, to kind of like you're dicing with danger. It's really tempting just to fill it up. So you'll see it here. So it's coming towards me, this enemy. I crouch down, hold the blue bar button in, and then let go. When you let go, it destroys the enemy, but it destroys yourself. So it's kind of clever in one way, because it gets rid of everything. but you destroy yourselves. It's kind of weird. Now, if you do that and you've got no lives left, and you can see the lives in the top right-hand corner, then that would have been game over. So it literally would have been the most stupid move you could ever make. But I had 1 life left, and it was a massive monster. I thought, well, bugger it, let's just use it. Plus, for the sake of the video as well. And I did. But it is a very strange move to have, I think. The fact that you lose a life as well, I don't know. But I kind of like it. It works. And it's unique, and it's typical Psygnosis. It's, you know, it's them trying something different, as per usual, and getting away with it, quite frankly. So yeah, hats off to them. So the gameplay's coming to an end. I think I balls up spectacularly here. Completely screw the jump up, look at this. Well, you'll see it, I bugger it up. So yeah, to sum it up, a brilliant game. Now, admittedly, my verdict, my judgment is shrouded in nostalgia, and I've got a very soft spot, to say the least, for this particular game, like I do for hundreds of others of Amiga and Atari ST games. But I really do recommend it if you like your Amiga, your ST stuff, your 16-bit games, if you like platforming games, if you like games which offer something a little bit new and unique, which this does, as I've touched upon, with like the armour changing colour and that strange option to destroy yourself. And if you like the good music, then you're going to want to pick this up. It can be pretty expensive if you want the original copy. You're probably looking around about 25 quid or 30 or maybe more with those eBay merchants who charge through the roof. But I definitely recommend getting the original. Anyway, so I'm going to enter my name in the high scoring charts. Only get 3 characters to choose from. Why was it always 3? So I can't fit in Alex, it's going to be ale. And speaking of ale, kind of, I'm going to get a drink. But it's going to be a tea, obviously. Choice of champions. See you later.